Please, stop. The words barely left her lips before the sound of glass shattered across the hardwood floor. The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut through bone. Claire's chest rose and fell, her anger simmering beneath a veneer of elegance. "You forget your place, don't you?" she said softly, dangerously. In the corner, Lena stood trembling, a small cut glistening on her wrist. I didn't mean." "Don't talk back," Claire snapped, her voice slicing the air like a whip. Upstairs, Ethan Cole froze at the top of the staircase. He had come home early from the office, hoping to surprise his wife with dinner reservations. Instead, he was listening to her terrorize their housekeeper. The sound of broken glass. A frightened voice. His heart sank, but he didn't move. Not yet. By the time he gathered the courage to look, the hallway was empty. Only the faint smell of bleach and lemon polish lingered in the air. At dinner, Lena's hand shook as she poured his water, the bandage on her wrist barely hidden beneath her sleeve. Ethan caught her eyes, haunted, pleading, but she quickly looked away. Claire's laughter filled the table like static. That night, he couldn't sleep. The image replayed in his mind. The sound of the crash, the fear in Lena's voice. Claire, calm as a storm. He'd built his life on order, on glass towers, real estate deals, clean lines, and control. But inside this mansion, something was rotting. Over the next few days, the signs multiplied. The faint bruises. The way Lena flinched when footsteps echoed in the hall. The quiet crying he thought he imagined in the middle of the night. When he asked her, she only smiled weakly. "It's fine, Mr. Cole. Just tired." But the truth whispered in every corner of that house. Claire's suspicion had turned into cruelty. She accused Lena of stealing her perfume, of spying, of things that didn't exist. "She smells like me," Claire sneered one morning. "Maybe she wants to be me." "Claire," Ethan said, weary, "you're overreacting." "Am I?" Her voice was venom. "You always defend her." That night, while Claire slept, Ethan installed hidden cameras. One in the kitchen, one in the hall, one in their bedroom. He told no one. Not even his reflection could know. For days, he pretended everything was normal. Lena arrived at 8 sharp, hair neatly tied, uniform crisp despite the exhaustion etched into her face. She worked in silence. The house gleamed, but something inside it was collapsing. When Ethan finally watched the footage, his stomach turned. Claire's voice filled the speakers, sweet at first, then cruel. "You think you're better than me?" she hissed. "Answer me." "No, ma'am," Lena whispered, her hands trembling as she scrubbed the floor. A slap cracked through the air. Ethan's heart stopped. Claire smiled after it, like it meant nothing. The next morning, he couldn't look at her. His empire, his name, his home, it was all a facade. The cameras had shown him the truth. He'd built his success on silence, on turning away. That evening, as the sun bled through the windows, Ethan gathered his courage. Claire entered the living room, perfect as ever. "What's wrong?" she asked. He pressed play. The sound filled the room. Her voice, her cruelty, Lena's fear. Claire's smile faltered. "You spied on me?" she whispered. "No," he said quietly. "I saw what I refused to see." When Lena came to work the next day, Claire was gone. The mansion felt different, lighter somehow. Ethan met her at the doorway. "You don't have to stay," he said. Lena hesitated. "And you?" He looked around the house he once thought was perfect. "I'm staying," he said, "to make things right." For the first time, she smiled, small but real. And somewhere in that silent house, something began to heal. "Still cleaning this room?" Claire's voice slid through the doorway, smooth and sharp all at once. Lena froze mid-fold. "Yes, ma'am. Almost done. Did I tell you to change the sheets today?" Claire asked, stepping inside, her heels ticking like a clock on the hardwood. "No, ma'am," Lena said quietly. "But they looked." "Stop thinking you get to decide what looks clean." Claire's tone cut through the air like glass. Lena lowered her head, tucking the blanket's corner in with trembling hands. "Sorry, ma'am." "Sorry doesn't mean anything when you're caught lying." Lena's fingers stilled. "Lying about what?" Claire moved closer, perfume heavy in the air. "You think I don't notice? My husband watches you like you're some kind of saint. Always asking if you're tired, if you're okay. Maybe you like the attention." Lena's heart pounded. "No, ma'am. He's just kind." Claire laughed, low and bitter. "Men don't hand out kindness for free. You must be doing something to earn it." "I swear, I don't even look at him." "Then why are you always tired?" Claire snapped. Creeping around this house at night. Who are you trying to impress? I just clean, Lena whispered, backing up a step. That's all I do. Claire's hand shot out, grabbing a fistful of Lena's hair. The maid gasped, dropping the pillow she was holding. Please, let go, Lena choked out. You think you can fool me in my own home? Claire's voice cracked with fury. You're lucky I don't throw you out right now. Tears streaked down Lena's face as she twisted in pain. Please, I need this job. Please. The hidden camera captured everything. The raised hand, the trembling maid, the marble floor gleaming between them. Then came the sound. A sharp, awful crack as Claire's slap echoed through the room. Lena stumbled back onto the bed, clutching her face, sobbing. I didn't do anything, she whispered. But Claire wasn't finished. You'll learn what happens when you lie under my roof. She lifted her hand again, her face cold and expressionless. Downstairs, Ethan Cole sat alone in his study. The blue light from his monitor flickered across his face as he replayed the footage. He watched Claire's hand rise, watched Lena flinch, heard the sob caught in her throat. His heart pounded so hard it hurt. He'd installed those cameras because he thought Lena was stealing. Now, he could barely breathe. When the footage ended, Lena was still sitting there, on the edge of the bed, hugging herself, crying into silence. No one came. No one comforted her. That's why her eyes were always red. Why her hands shook. Why she smiled even when she was breaking. Ethan shut the laptop hard. The sound made him jump. He leaned back, hands shaking, whispering into the empty room. What the hell did you do, Claire? He didn't sleep that night. Every blink brought her voice back. Every breath tasted like shame. At dawn, Lena arrived like she always did, her uniform pressed, her hair pinned neatly back. She moved quietly, as if hoping the house wouldn't notice her. Ethan met her in the hallway. Lena, he said softly. She froze, clutching her cleaning bag. Yes, sir. Did something happen yesterday in the master bedroom? Her throat tightened. No, sir. He studied her face, the faint mark on her cheek, the way her eyes darted down. Look at me, he said gently. She hesitated, then lifted her gaze. The truth was written all over her. Please don't fire me, she whispered, tears gathering. I didn't mean to upset her. I just wanted to finish my work. Ethan's stomach turned. She hit you, didn't she? Lena shook her head fast. No, sir. I slipped. Don't lie to protect her, he said sharply. I'm not lying, her voice cracked. If I lose this job, my brother won't get his medicine. I can take it, sir. I've taken worse. Ethan turned away, gripping the doorframe until his knuckles turned white. The woman who'd been beaten was still protecting her abuser. Later that morning, Claire waltzed into the dining room, flawless in navy, phone in hand, humming like nothing had happened. Why are you looking at me like that? She asked, sliding into her chair. He didn't answer. Ethan, he looked up slowly. I saw the footage. Her smile faltered. What footage? The one from the bedroom. Color drained from her face. You filmed me. I installed cameras because I thought Lena was stealing, he said, voice low, trembling. Turns out the thief was you. Her eyes hardened. Excuse me. You stole her peace. Her dignity. Claire slammed her fork down. Don't you dare talk to me like I'm the villain here. But Ethan didn't flinch this time. He leaned forward, his voice cold. You are. The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. That girl's been manipulating you long enough. Ethan's voice thundered through the dining room. You hit her. The air went still. The clock ticked once, twice, too loud, too steady. Claire's lips curved into something almost like a smile. So what if I did? I'm not letting some girl from nowhere disrespect me in my own home. She needed to learn her place. Ethan stared at her like she was a stranger who'd broken into his life, wearing his wife's face. Her place, he said quietly. Her place is not beneath your hand. Claire laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. You're defending her now? I should have known. You always had a soft spot for pathetic women. He stood abruptly, his chair scraping across the marble floor. His fists trembled at his sides. Pack your things, he said. She blinked. Excuse me. You heard me. Get out of this house. Her eyes narrowed, disbelief giving way to fury. You're choosing her over me? I'm choosing decency, Ethan said, voice low but firm. Something you lost a long time ago. Claire's heels clicked like gunshots as she stormed upstairs. The sound of drawers slamming echoed through the halls before the front door slammed hard enough to rattle the chandeliers. Downstairs, Lena was mopping the front hall, unaware of the chaos above. When Ethan walked toward her, she stiffened instantly, lowering her head. "I'll leave, sir," she said before he could speak. "I don't want any more trouble." He shook his head gently. "You're not leaving." She looked up, startled. "Sir." "She is," he said softly. Lena's lips parted. You saw?" "I saw everything," Ethan said. "And I'm sorry. I should have stopped it sooner." Tears welled in her eyes, spilling before she could stop them. "I didn't want to cause problems," she whispered. "I just needed the job." Ethan's chest tightened. "You've done more for this house than anyone. You kept it together when everything else was falling apart." That evening, the sound of Claire's car faded down the driveway, swallowed by the night. Lena stood on the porch, clutching her small bag, 2 uniforms, a toothbrush, and little else. She still looked shaken, uncertain if she was truly free. Ethan stepped outside, holding an envelope. "What's this?" she asked. "Your pay," he said. "And a bonus. Take a few weeks off. Rest. When you're ready, there'll be a place here for you, or anywhere I can help you go." Her fingers hesitated on the envelope. "Why are you being so kind?" He gave a faint, tired smile. "Because no one was kind to me when I needed it." Her eyes shimmered. "Thank you, Mr. Cole." He nodded, watching her walk down the long drive, her shoulders straighter than they'd been in weeks. The porch light cast her shadow across the wet pavement until she disappeared at the gate. Inside, the mansion felt cavernous. Ethan went to his study, opened the laptop, and stared at the folder of footage. One by one, he deleted the files, every cruel second, every slap, every tear. Except one. He left the recording of Lena sitting on the edge of the bed, clutching herself, silently holding together what was left of her dignity. He kept it not for guilt, but as a warning, to never again confuse silence with peace. When he finally shut the laptop, the house felt different. Empty, yes, but clean in a way no polish could achieve. Days turned to weeks. Marta moved quietly through the kitchen, her voice soft, her eyes kind but cautious. She asked one morning, "Sir, will she be coming back?" Ethan looked up from his untouched coffee and smiled faintly. "I hope so," he said. "The house misses her." He didn't mean the chores. He meant the warmth she'd left behind, the hum of her soft singing, the rhythm of her care. The mansion gleamed, but it was hollow. Claire's perfume lingered in the curtains, an echo of everything false. The air smelled sterile, like loss disguised as order. Ethan spent his mornings by the window, staring at the garden she used to tend. The patio table sat empty, sunlight falling on the chairs where laughter once lived. Marta started bringing him food he never ate. "You should try to rest, sir," she said. He'd nod, distracted. But rest wasn't what he needed. He needed to make things right. One gray afternoon, unable to stand the silence, he drove across town to the neighborhood where Lena had first come from, the one the agency never mentioned by name. The streets were narrow, lined with tiny houses, their paint fading under the weight of time. He slowed when he saw her through a crooked fence, sleeves rolled up, hanging laundry in the drizzle. Her hair was loose for the first time, her face calm. For once, she wasn't trembling. Ethan sat in the car for a long time, watching quietly. He didn't call out, didn't interrupt. He just needed to see that she was okay. For the first time in months, he felt something close to peace. Not the polished kind that came from wealth or control, just the simple, human kind that comes from knowing you finally did the right thing. Her little brother sat barefoot on the porch, coloring in a worn notebook with a broken blue crayon. When Lena saw Ethan step out of his car, she froze mid-motion, her hand still on the laundry line. For a second, neither of them spoke, just the quiet hum of a late summer afternoon, broken by the scratch of the crayon on paper. "Mr. Cole," she said softly, her voice uncertain. "You shouldn't have come here. I just wanted to see how you're doing," he said. "I'm fine," she answered, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. "We're managing." Ethan glanced around. The cracked steps, the peeling paint, the roof patched with mismatched shingles. A child's toy truck sat overturned in the dirt. "You shouldn't have to live like this," he said quietly. Lena smiled faintly, the kind of smile born from acceptance rather than peace. "We don't all get to choose, sir. But we keep trying." He reached into his coat and pulled out a brown envelope. "Before you say no, it's not charity. It's what you earned." "I already got my pay," she said softly. "This isn't for the work you did," he said. It's for what I didn't see soon enough. Her eyes softened, glistening. You don't owe me anything. I do, he said, his voice low. Because people like me make the rules, and people like you pay for them. Lena looked down, clutching the envelope to her chest, her lips trembling. You're not like her, she whispered. Ethan shook his head slowly. No, but I was silent while she wasn't. Lena nodded, her eyes filled with quiet understanding. Silence hurts the same. He didn't argue. He just stood there, watching her little brother run toward them, holding up his drawing. Look, the boy said proudly. I drew where we're gonna live one day. Lena crouched and kissed the top of his head. It's beautiful, she whispered. Ethan leaned down to look. The paper showed a small white house with a bright blue roof, a little garden, and 2 stick figures smiling by the door. Maybe I can help you make that real, Ethan said softly. Lena's eyes widened. Sir, I can't take. You can, he interrupted gently. Because you earned it. The day you kept standing when no one stood for you. They stood there for a long time as rain began to fall, soft drops tapping against the tin roof. The air smelled like earth and hope. Thank you, she whispered finally. For seeing me. I should have sooner, he said. When Ethan drove away, Lena stood at the fence, watching the car disappear down the narrow street. She didn't feel small anymore. For the first time in years, she felt seen, truly seen. A month later, everything inside the Cole mansion had changed. Fresh flowers filled the vases again. Marta hummed while she cooked, laughter returning to her voice. The halls no longer echoed with silence or tension. They breathed again. Ethan no longer hid in his study. He walked through the house slowly, greeting the staff by name, listening more than he spoke. He'd hired fewer people this time, but treated each one with respect. And he stopped calling them help. One crisp evening, a letter arrived. Cream paper, careful handwriting. Sir, the money helped us move into a small apartment. My brother has his own room now. He painted the roof blue, just like his drawing. I'm working at a daycare nearby. I'm still tired, but it's a good kind of tired. Thank you for believing me when no one else did. Lena. Ethan read it 3 times, then folded it gently and set it beside the old laptop, the one he once used to watch that horrible footage. He stared at both, one a symbol of cruelty, the other of courage. Then he deleted the last video for good. As the sun dipped low, he opened the curtains himself for the first time in months, something Lena used to do each morning. The light poured in, warm and golden, dust dancing in its glow. The air smelled clean, real. Marta passed by the doorway and smiled. You look better today, sir. Ethan nodded, his voice calm. The house finally feels alive again. Because she's coming back? Marta asked gently. He looked toward the sunlight streaming through the window and smiled faintly. No, because she left something here, and it wasn't dust. Outside, the sky turned a deep amber. And for a fleeting moment, he swore he heard Lena's soft humming somewhere in the distance. The sound of someone who had survived every storm and still found a way to make the air gentle again.